Hello and welcome. You're watching News 9. I'm Shweta Kothari. The top story that we are tracking, war between Israel and Hamas has entered 42nd day. Let's take a look at the top developments so far. Israel's defense minister announced next stage of offensive in Gaza. Israeli forces have withdrawn from Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza as per various reports. Body of Israeli hostages have been found near Al-Shifa, according to Israeli defense forces. The UN is now looking for ways to evacuate inmates in Al-Shifa hospitals, and civilians in Gaza are facing immediate possibility of starvation. At least 11,470 Palestinians have been killed in the Israel-Hamas war so far. There is a complete communication blackout in Gaza. Indonesian hospital in the northern Gaza has been shut down. Israeli president says that India can raise its voice for peace in the region. Now, Israel's President Isaac Herzog has said that India can advocate for peace and can definitely pursue the voice of reason and security for Israel and for the greater peace in the region. Asked if India can play a role to mediate or moderate the conflict, Isaac Herzog described India as a very important nation in the world. The Israeli president talked about the need to rebuild Gaza as a peaceful place in an interview to ANI. He also charged that Iran was behind the recent attack on Israel, emphasizing Iran's clear threat against the Economic Corridor Agreement, which includes Saudi Arabia, Israel, US and India. It was signed on the sidelines of the G20 summit.
First of all, we are not targeting hospitals. Hamas has placed command and control centers under the hospitals. And from there, they are shooting and killing our citizens. So we have the right to defend ourselves. So they have the right to go into everywhere they have missiles. They have missiles in living rooms. They have terror machines in all over the civilian premises. So what we do, we alert everybody in advance, according to the rules of international humanitarian law. And we send millions of leaflets and millions of phone calls we are doing. And we're sending millions of text messages. And we are telling the people in the war zone, please leave your premise so that we can go in and take all this infrastructure from your home. Some of them, in my mind, were accomplices, but some not. I agree. There are many civilians in Gaza who are innocent and not involved. But because this place was taken over, we have to remove that. In the hospitals, what we are doing is, God forbid, we are making sure that none of the patients, the doctors or the crew or the operations are even stopped. On the contrary, we brought in to the Shifa hospital a lot of equipment and food and fuel and whatever is necessary to operate the hospital. But underneath, in the cellar, in the basement, there is a war machine with missiles, with weapons, with an entire command and control. From there, they sent this barbaric terrorists to go into Israel. From there, they brought hijacked and abducted civilians from Israel into those premises. So that's what we do. Well, one thing is clear. Israel must be guaranteed full safety of its citizens. Nobody in Israel will agree to go back to the pre-7th of October situation. We cannot be threatened. And you know what? Part of the issue is that we are also attacked from our north by Hezbollah, which is a huge terror organization that has taken over Lebanon under the arms of Iran. And the real empire of evil here starts in Tehran and spreads Islamic fundamentalism of the worst kind to the entire region. They have taken over Syria and Lebanon and Gaza, and now from Yemen we are attacked, and Iraq, and everybody should be very aware evil effort to undermine the entire regional situation. Let me remind your viewers, About a month and a half ago or so, 2 months ago, in the G20 summit, where Prime Minister Modi was there, President Joe Biden of the United States announced a special corridor of energy and communications and business and science from Israel all the way down to India, through Saudi Arabia and the Gulf and Jordan. An amazing, amazing vision that connects all of us together, that will connect Europe to Southeast Asia and even America all the way to Australia. That's a grand vision. That gives India a huge strength on the way. But somebody decided that they want to derail this effort of inclusion of Israel and this huge peace vision of President Biden. Imagine and think who. At the end, this empire of evil of Iran is working extra hours to undermine any inclusion of Israel in the region and any peace process.
And the Ministry of External Affairs in India on Thursday stressed on the need for humanitarian relief and de-escalation of the Israel-Hamas war. MEA spokesperson Arindam Bakshi, addressing the storming of Al-Shifa hospital by Israeli forces, said that it was not just about one specific facility. He emphasized that India has provided humanitarian aid to Palestine while also condemning the terror attacks by Hamas terrorist group. Bakshi said that India has always underlined the need for civilian casualties to be avoided and for humanitarian law to be observed. He added that India also sent 38 tons of relief material and more aid is on its way for Gazans. Israel in fact claims that Hamas operatives were using the Al-Shifa hospital as a command and control center.
This is not about one specific facility. The issue is not about one facility or a specific facility. India has always underlined the need for civilian casualties to be avoided, for humanitarian law to be observed, and of course to encourage any efforts to provide humanitarian relief to those caught in the conflict. We have also, on a larger issue, talked about efforts to de-escalate the situation, deliver humanitarian assistance, our concern at the humanitarian increasing civilian toll. We had also talked about how India had sent, I think, 38 tons of humanitarian relief material. We are looking to send more assistance. We had also condemned strongly the horrific terrorist attack on October 7th and our zero tolerance for terrorism and the need for immediate and unconditional release of the hostages. So yes, I would reiterate, as I said, our perspective on anything that can help the humanitarian assistance.
And the Israeli Defense Forces stated that they have clear information indicating a connection between Hamas activities in Al-Shifa hospital and the hostages. It also mentioned that new findings indicate the Hamas tunnel network under the complex. The forces are currently investigating laptops and other technological devices that were found in the medical center. The IDF reported that it has found data at Al-Shifa hospital linked to hostage Ori Magdishi, the Israeli hostage recently rescued by the IDF. The discovered pictures of Magidish from before she was kidnapped on a laptop at Hamas's Shifa Center command. Now, IDF also stated that there is extensive additional data that it still needs to look into, and it will continue to make announcements as it gathers more details from the data. The Israeli military revealed that it has discovered a Hamas tunnel shaft and a vehicle stocked with weapons within the Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital complex. The IDF says that in the Shifa hospital, Israeli troops found an operational tunnel shaft and a vehicle that contained large number of weapons. The IDF disclosed this finding, showcasing videos and photos of the tunnel and the weapons. The discovery raises concerns about the use of civilian infrastructure by Hamas for its military purposes in the ongoing conflict. And in the Al-Shifa hospital complex, IDF troops have discovered a hidden booby-trapped vehicle with a bunch of weapons, including such as AK-47s, RPGs, sniper rifles, grenades, and other explosives. Take a look.
Okay, we are here in the city of Gaza, in the heart of the city of Gaza, in Shifa Hospital, and this is what Hamas is trying to hide from you. We found a vehicle filled with ammunition, RPGs, AK-47s. We see handcuffs, knives, preparation for taking hostages from Israel on the attack of October 7th. As you can see, they were very well prepared, and where they're hiding all of this equipment is in a hospital, a place that's supposed to be for humanitarian aid. They have all this evil hidden here. As we can see, we are in the heart of the hospital. And this is where they choose to hide everything, because they know the IDF won't attack, the Air Force won't attack here. So they use the hospital as human shields.
And the IDF also released a video of an airstrike announcing a warplane that targeted Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh's home in Gaza Strip. According to the IDF, the targeted residence was being utilized as a terrorist infrastructure. The IDF said that the residence frequently served as a meeting point for Hamas senior leaders to direct terror attacks. Meanwhile, President of the United States Joe Biden stood unwavering in his refusal to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. The Israeli military also dropped leaflets in several neighborhoods of Khan Yunis, asking residents to evacuate amid fears of IDF's assault in the southern Gaza as it continues to intensify. Residents of Kurza, Abbasan, Bani Suhaila and Al-Qarara in eastern Khan Yunis stated that Israeli planes have dropped hundreds of leaflets ordering people to evacuate overnight. The cities that housed more than 1 lakh people are now sheltering tens of thousands more who have evacuated other places. Now, as per reports, the leaflet says that Gazans must evacuate their places of residence immediately and head to known shelters for their own safety. It also warned that anyone near terrorist facilities will be putting their lives in risk and that every house used by terrorists will be targeted. The IDF has not confirmed anything about the leaflets so far. It is not clear whether the residents are supposed to flee and where they are supposed to flee. According to UNHRC, no part of Gaza is safe. The Palestinian medics are now saying that they are increasingly afraid for the lives of hundreds of patients and medical staff at Gaza's biggest hospital, cut off from all links to the outside world for more than a day now after Israeli forces entered the hospital.
Video shot earlier this week is the last the world has seen of some of the medical staff caring for hundreds of patients still trapped inside Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital. Reuters journalists have been unable to reach anyone there for more than 24 hours. They were effectively cut off from the outside world as of Wednesday, after Israeli forces moved inside the facility.
This is the bag that we found.
Israel's military later released this video of rifles and flak jackets it said its soldiers found there. But it has so far produced no evidence of the vast Hamas headquarters that both it and Washington said was operating beneath Gaza's biggest hospital. The White House stood by its intelligence assessment about Al-Shifa on Thursday.
Grab and go.
Meanwhile, global alarm among humanitarian groups is growing. Al-Shifa is also hosting thousands of people displaced by weeks of Israeli airstrikes and artillery bombardments. The World Health Organization said it was trying to arrange a medical evacuation of about 600 patients inside Al-Shifa, including 27 in critical condition and 36 newborn babies removed from incubators for want of power because Israel has cut off fuel supplies.
The situation, the humanitarian and health situation in Gaza really is catastrophic.
Regional Emergencies Director Rick Brennan said there were many challenges, including negotiating safety guarantees with Israel's military and a lack of the fuel needed for ambulances just to bring out patients.
But there are a lot of security concerns, there are a lot of logistics constraints. Our options are rather limited, but we hope to have some better news in the next 24 hours.
Israeli forces have effectively shut down all hospitals in the northern part of the enclave and ordered the area's evacuation. Human Rights Watch warned hospitals have special protections under international humanitarian law. Israel has now dropped leaflets in the southern part of the Gaza Strip, ordering civilians to leave 4 towns on the edge of Khan Yunis. Atya Abu Jabal was among tens of thousands of displaced people in the area, now wondering where they're supposed to go next. Other residents said the area came under heavy bombardment overnight.
Escaping war-torn Gaza City offers little respite for Palestinians heading to the south, where challenges continue to persist. The scarcity of electricity and medical resources compounds difficulties, especially for those with pre-existing health conditions. Take a look.
A sight to behold.
This room contains right now Palestinians and Jews who actually, in the darkest, most polarizing, most difficult moment in the history of the two peoples right now, is choosing to actually work together.
They want to send a message they feel cannot be repeated enough.
Millions of Palestinians will remain here, and millions of Jewish people will remain here, and that's a fact.
This meeting at a mosque in Haifa is organized by Standing Together, a grassroots peace movement made up of Jewish and Palestinian citizens of Israel. Activists tell me such togetherness has been rare since the October 7th Hamas attacks, and that often demonstrations of solidarity in either direction are met with rejection.
We have friends, we have neighbors, we have peers, we have colleagues who are Jewish who got deeply impacted by this. And we were devastated by the attack. But even that was not something that was fully accepted by a lot of the Jewish public. Oh, you're hurting for us now, but so you can't identify as Palestinian.
We do suffer from calls for violence, from being called being a traitor, from incitement against us Jewish people that are working towards peace, that are working to build solidarity among Jews and Palestinians.
The fact that we are even unable to fully experience and grieve our people is like that. It's like the epitome of our psychosis and our experience as Palestinians in Israel. I'm literally unable to fully grieve my people, while also you're on a mission to convince people you're human.
People here believe deepening divisions in Israeli society make it all the more important to meet and to show empathy with one another. So they put that empathy, quite literally, center stage. In defiance of local right-wing groups which tried to get the event cancelled. It's happening under tight security. It's more than just talk, though. Volunteers visit places where Muslims and Jews work together, like this hospital near Haifa. They handed out thank you cards to staff, written in Arabic and Hebrew. Tamara Asadi is a Palestinian Israeli teacher who works at a predominantly Jewish school.
It is important for me to be a role model for my students, for my country, and everyone around me.
The visit is happening 1 month after the October 7th terror attack.
It's so important to remark the fact that we are together in the staff here and many other places. We are doing very, very naturally togetherness. Naturally, togetherness.
What about Jewish people like yourself?
Back at the assembly, I asked Alon Lee Green if he feels their movement speaks for the majority in Israeli society.
No. But do all the society, the majority of society, have the interest of the direction we want to go? I think the answer is yes.
After the speeches, attendees break up into small groups. They brainstorm more practical ways they might spread their message, and to convince more of their fellow Israelis to see each other the way they do.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also strongly condemned the death of civilians in the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. In his inaugural speech at the virtual Voice of Global South Summit, Prime Minister condemned the October 7 attack on Israel by Hamas and said that the Global South should speak in one voice on critical matters.
भारत ने 7 अक्टूबर को इजराइल में हुए जघन्य आतंकी हमले की निंदा की है। हमने रिस्ट्रेंट के साथ ही डायलॉग और डिप्लोमेसी पर भी जोर दिया है। इजराइल और हमास के कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में सिविलियंस की मौत की हम कठोर निंदा करते हैं। राष्ट्रपति महमूद अब्बास जी से बात कर हमने फिलिस्तीन के लोगों के लिए मानवीय सहायता भी भेजी है।
An Indian Prime Minister there pushing for dialogue and diplomacy in the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict. We continue to bring you all those updates right here on Newsline. Thank you for watching. We'll be back after a very short break.
China won't let us rest easy on our borders, but they will keep flooding our markets. What does Xi Jinping really want?
I think he wants the Indian market, no doubt about it.